Russia begins mass production of Oreshnik missiles. Trump deploys nuclear submarines near Russia.
Houthi launched hypersonic missile at Israel.
Vietnam sees strong shift to electric vehicles.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news. Here we go, the first set of the show. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that the country has started mass-producing the Oreshnik hypersonic missile and officially begun delivering it to the Russian armed forces. Putin's statement came as the U.S. President Donald Trump ordered 2 nuclear submarines to the areas near Russia.
Speaking at a meeting with Belarusian President Lukashenko, the Russian president stated that the first Oreshnik missile system produced on a production line has been completed and handed over to the military. Putin also said that supplying Oreshnik missiles to Belarus could be resolved by the end of this year, and experts from both countries have agreed on deployment locations in Belarus. Previously, Russia used Oreshnik missiles in a November 2024 strike on Ukrainian defense industry facilities in response to Western arms supplies to Kyiv. Meanwhile, in a post on Truth Social, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he had deployed 2 nuclear submarines to areas near Russia, in reaction to what the U.S. regards as a threat by Russian Security Council Vice Chairman and former President Dmitry Medvedev. Tensions between the two sides are escalating, with Trump repeatedly expressing frustration over the stalled negotiations to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict. President Putin has not yet responded to Trump's submarine deployment.
Meanwhile, in the Middle East, the Houthi forces in Yemen continue to launch a hypersonic ballistic missile targeting Israel, forcing hundreds of thousands of people to evacuate into bomb shelters.
The Houthi statement said the missile used was a Palestine II hypersonic ballistic missile targeting Ben Gurion International Airport in Tel Aviv. This is Israel's main and highest capacity airport. The attack triggered air raid sirens across central Israel and Jerusalem. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, announced that they had successfully intercepted the missile. No casualties or damage were reported, but residents were forced to take shelter. According to the IDF, this is the 67th missile launched by the Houthis toward Israel since March 18th, when Israel resumed military operations in Gaza to pressure Hamas over the hostage issue. The attack coincided with the first visit by U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee to Gaza to assess the humanitarian aid situation, which is reportedly at an unprecedentedly dire level due to Israel's blockade and military campaign.
On the morning of August 2nd in Ho Chi Minh City, the Vietnamese Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính just chaired a conference to implement the National Assembly's resolution on building international financial centers in Vietnam, marking the beginning of a strategy to turn Vietnam into a regional financial hub.
2 financial centers which will be built in Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang are expected to begin operations by the end of 2025. At the conference, Prime Minister described the event as strategically important for attracting international investment, cutting-edge technology, and high-quality human resources to promote economic growth and national competitiveness. He emphasized that the development of a financial center is an inevitable global trend and must proceed with decisive but measured action. On the same day, the Prime Minister signed decisions on establishing a national steering committee and an action plan on building the financial centers, with tasks focused on completing institutions, developing infrastructure, and building a specialized financial ecosystem.
Upcoming are some updated news.
Ung Hae and Party Secretary Nguyen Duc Trung conducted on-site visits to the 3 hardest-hit communes, Bac Lai, Mai Lai, and Nhon Mai in Khe Son District, to inspect the recovery efforts. In Mai Lai, more than 400 houses were damaged, including 220 completely washed away. Many infrastructure projects were seriously damaged. Total losses estimated at around 200 billion VND. In Non Mai, the damage exceeds 780 billion VND, with 1 fatality and widespread destruction of homes and infrastructure. The party secretary shared the losses with the residents and acknowledged the active response of local authorities. He also called for urgent life stabilization, emergency relief to isolated villages, evacuation planning from dangerous areas, and rapid restoration of essential infrastructure.
The Ministry of Industry and Trade announced that the U.S. has officially reduced reciprocal tariffs on Vietnamese imports from 46% to 20%, effective August 7th. This is the result of multiple rounds of trade negotiations held since late April 2025 between the two sides at both technical and ministerial levels. The Ministry of Industry and Trade stated that in the coming period, the two sides will continue to talk towards finalizing the reciprocal trade agreement and promoting stable, mutually beneficial economic, trade, and investment relations commensurate with the Vietnam-U.S. Comprehensive Strategic Partnership.
Nghệ An Provincial People's Committee has issued a plan for land clearance for the North-South High-Speed Rail Project, segment passing through the province. This is a key national infrastructure project with a total length of over 1,504 km, of which the section through Nghệ An is 85.5 km. This project directly affects about 2,150 households in 38 communities. To serve resettlement efforts, Nghệ An plans to invest in 30 resettlement areas in over 102 hectares, with total investment of 1,450 billion VND. The province aims to finish resettlement by October 2026 and hand over cleared land to the investor by December 2026 to enable construction start.
The transition from gasoline to electric vehicles is gaining significant public attention, especially after the Prime Minister's directive on banning fossil-fueled motorbikes. Shifting to green vehicles is an irreversible trend. As a result, both consumers and manufacturers are gradually adapting to this change. More in the story today.
According to statistics from the Vietnam Register, as of June 2025, there are over 52,000 electric cars, and around 3.5 million electric motorcycles are registered nationwide. Electric vehicles, quiet, clean, and cheaper to run, are becoming the preferred choice for more and more people.
For business, electric cars cost only half of price. For example, a 7-seater costs about 2,000 VND per kilometer, but for an electric car, it's less than 1,000 VND.
The main benefits of electric vehicles are reduced emissions and lower operating costs. Personally, I chose an EV for my children, who are just old enough to use it when they enter high school.
It's not just distant interest. More and more people are actively learning about EVs, trying them out, and joining vehicle exchange programs. With the involvement of businesses, consumers, and government guidance, Vietnam's electric vehicle market is entering a rapid growth phase.
We organized the Gas to Electric Vehicle Exchange program to raise awareness among the public about transitioning from gasoline vehicles to electric ones, in line with the government's policy to reduce emissions and environmental pollution.
Shifting to green transport is no longer just a trend. It has become a practical requirement amid rising fuel prices, worsening air pollution, and Vietnam's emissions reduction commitments under COP26.
The last story just ended our show today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye and see you later.